Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting. Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.
Thank you for joining us on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, where co-hosts West Indies have started their campaign of the T20 World Cup with a win, beating PNG by 5 wickets with 1 over to spare. That tells you a bit about the way this game went. Of course, all of us thought at the halfway stage, easy peasy. We're talking about net run rate, 13th over, 14th over. It went down till almost the 20th over. And PNG, they had their moments. For moments where they were ahead of this game as well. I'm joined in the studio by Wasim Jaffer, also joined from Dallas by Ian Bishop. Ian, I'm going to start with you. A few sighs of relief I'm getting in that dressing room and also around the country as well after that win.
Of fans of the West Indies, friends of mine who said their heart isn't that strong to be going through this as often as they've had to do. I would say that there are a number of things, Wasim and everyone, that we can pull out of this match. The West Indies performance is susceptible to improvement. The bowling we talked about on that surface will have to get better. PNG have shown great fighting spirit, and this is what happens with associate nations. If you give them exposure, if you give them opportunity to continue playing, they will improve. The pitch is something that I think is also very susceptible to improvement as we go through this World Cup. So I'm choosing my words quite carefully. And the dot ball percentage, we've talked about it for years. West Indies, when conditions aren't flat, have to be able to score off more balls, however they choose to score. 54, 55 dot balls, yes. That needs to be better.
Yeah, 47% on a pitch, slow and low, where the ball and the bowlers, for their part, not bowling too fast from a batsman's perspective, going at it hard, possibly not the only solution.
Yeah, I mean, like Bish says, the pitch obviously was not conducive to playing very aggressively, but I thought that's the problem most of the West Indian batters face when the pitch is like that. And PNG's bowling actually suits this kind of surfaces, and they bowled 2 maiden overs out of 19, so that's quite creditable. They were in the game up until
maiden wicket as well, I think.
Yeah, and they were in the game up until I thought Andrew Russell came in and hit that 6, and things started to break loose. And that's what happens with associate nations. When it comes to the right till the end, that's when they kind of finds out that, you know, what's the difference between a proper team and obviously the associate nation. But full credit to them, the way they fought. Posted a decent enough score, and they were in the game up until 16th over or something like that. So, you know, a lot of credit they should take a lot of positives out of it, and obviously West Indies need to sort out that batting issues. You know, we did talk about Roston Chase is such an important player in that batting lineup, because when you play that many dot balls, it's not going to help because the pitches are going to remain same. When you play against good opposition, that dot ball percentage has to get better for West Indies.
Ian, I don't understand it, because, I mean, these are boys who are playing top quality cricket. These are boys who are playing franchise cricket, highest level of the game for numbers of months, you know, building up to a tournament like this for years and years on. But suddenly the situation changes a little bit. You need to alter your approach a little bit, and yet you don't do it. Is it just a case of, I have been backing myself in a certain way, and irrespective of what that condition might be, I am going to go at it like this?
I don't think that is too far off. Look, it's good that the West Indies won the game. Let me get that out of the picture. As an analyst, as we sit here as analysts, but we see where things could get better. So in the Caribbean, we've discussed this. I've discussed this for a number of years, that the West Indies won 2 World Cups, partly because of their bowling, but partly because of their 6-hitting prowess. The game has moved on. other teams have gotten better. Other teams have gotten more versatile. So as batters, and these guys are capable of doing it. Puran is capable of doing it. Shafin Rutherford is capable of doing it. He's from Guyana. You have to get out of your comfort zone. Yes, you might be a powerful boundary hitting team, but experience in 2021, experience in 2022 in those two World Cups showed us that adaptability to conditions and scoring off more balls is a key thing. So I think the West Indies going forward, if they were playing against a higher ranked nation in these conditions, you know what the situation could have been. So allow yourself to show the versatility that you show when you're playing in the IPL or you're playing in the PSL on some pitches that are slow, and bring that experience and be willing to change.
Yeah, because Wasim, you're not really chasing a 180 odd, you're not chasing a 190 odd, you're still chasing a 137. So you allow yourself, you give yourself the luxury that, maybe this game can be won by singles, doubles. Not everything has to be a 4 or a 6 for it to finish it off.
Yeah, I mean, part of the problem is playing that many dot balls. If you keep the strike rotation going, then obviously the bowlers also come into under pressure. But you keep on playing dot balls, you put a lot of pressure on yourself, and that's not the strongest suit of this West Indian team. We've talked about it before also. They like to hit boundaries, they like to hit sixes. But if the conditions are not like that, when they've got flat pitches, they are a dangerous side, because everybody can bat at 160, 170, even more strike rate. We've seen that before the game. But when they find pitches like this, that's where they need to adapt and obviously score on balls which are dot balls. And if the dot ball percentage comes down, you automatically score a lot more runs.
Yeah, I'm just guessing.
Can I just say something?
Yes, Ian.
Before we move on to the next question, I just want to pick up immediately on what Wasim said there, right? With an example, because I don't want the conversation to drift off and we forget. I want to go back to the IPL this year and the two teams that got to the final. And this is something that's been a bee in my bonnet for a while. Everybody was talking about Sunrisers Hyderabad being the best batting team in the tournament. They were good. They were very good at their six hitting when conditions were amenable to six hitting. The difference came when conditions were not as amenable to six hitting and the pitches weren't as straightforward. And that's where the Knight Riders, for example, were able to adapt to conditions. They weren't hitting as many sixes, but they were hitting boundaries and they were scoring off more balls. I think we touched on it. And so even if you're a powerful six-hitting team, conditions are going to come where you need to have a different point to your batting game. And that's the lesson, and that's the only reason I brought this up. That's a cautionary tale for teams going forward in this format of the game.
So, Wasim, just taking that forward, I understand if you look at it from a long-term perspective, maybe this is the change that you need to bring in a plan B into your approach to this game. But in tournament, in a tournament like this, is it possible to suddenly bring it about, given that, in the build-up to the tournament, whatever you've played, whether it be franchise cricket, international cricket, you've gone a certain way. Suddenly to flip the switch, where the conditions are saying you need to flip the switch, opposition is saying we're going to trouble you by making you flip that switch. Is it that easy now to do it in mid-tournament?
I mean, don't forget that these are all international cricketers, so it shouldn't be that hard. We all know that we've talked about it, they like to score big sixes, they like to see boundaries being hit, but there are going to be conditions where you need to go into your plan B. Plan B is obviously to not let dot balls happen.
Yeah.
Don't let the bowlers dictate terms. You just at certain stage you will probably need to get 6 ball 6 or maybe 6 ball 8 and then look for that opportunity where once you start playing taking singles or couple of doubles, the bowler will present an opportunity for you to if not to hit a 6 but for a boundary here and there. So you need to do that, but if you keep on playing dot balls, you're putting pressure on yourself. So even though that's not their strength, but they've been playing in West Indies wicket, they've been playing in CPL, so they kind of know what the conditions are going to be going forward in the tournament. So this is not something new to them. they've been playing in CPL, and we've seen there's no high-scoring games in CPL, barring couple of grounds.
180, yeah.
So they know this is something which is going to happen against stronger teams. So they need to adapt. That adaptability, I feel, is very key. You can't go in, even though in T20 format, by saying that we are only going to hit sixes, we are only six-hitting team. That's not going to work against good teams, especially when conditions are like this.
Moving on to PNG now, Ian, and especially the spinners, someone like a Kariko, and the way the spinners bowl, not too much spin, but very disciplined, wicket to wicket, maintaining their lines and thereby troubling the West Indian batsmen.
Yeah, and great on them. Great on them. Remember that review they didn't take against Nicholas Puran?
Yeah.
Off, I think it was now. I give them a bly for that. And we use that word in the Caribbean, say I forgive them for that, PNG, that is, because I don't know how often they would have had the experience of using the DRS system compared to the higher associate countries and the full member nations where everything is on television and DRS, right? So that's one key thing. But I love the discipline of PNG's slower bowling options, bowling very tidily. Charles Amini, a couple of overs, maybe he could have bowled one more Asad Fala. Kariko, you said. And again, it speaks to giving them more experience, one from a leadership point of view for their captain to go and trust his spinners, the information from the coaching side, as Wasim knows, in saying we've got Phil Simmons, who has been West Indies coach in our camp. He understands the Caribbean conditions as well as anyone, and bringing that intel in and putting that into their team selection and their bowling usage.
Yeah, and not just the bowling, Wasim. Yes, of course, there were moments where the fielding was a letdown, but there were also moments where the fielding was really good. They were maintaining that pressure. And like I said at the start of the game, there were moments in that West Indian chase where it seemed like PNG were ahead in the game.
They were at one stage, the asking rate was close to 11.7 when Andrew Russell came in. So it looked like we could see an upset. So, all credit to them, because they were in the game for the most part of the innings. So, they used the conditions to their favor, and the bowling attack actually suited to this kind of pitch. And obviously, when once you start leaking runs, and like I said before, in that death overs, sometimes they fall short because they've not played against top teams. They have their shortcomings, bowling in the death and stuff like that, which we found out in the last 2 overs or 3 overs once Russell came and hit that 6, and then all scoring started to happen. Then Roston Chase, he hit some few runs. So these things happen to associate nations. That's how they will learn. But I think a lot of credit to them, because if you see the top order batting of West Indies, nobody batted more than 100 strike rate. So a lot of credit to them. They bowled really well. To get Puran batting 27 for 27 is a lot of credit to them, because he, no matter how big a ground is, for Nicholas Puran, it's never too big. So they bowled and they bowled with a lot of discipline.
Flying the flag high for all the associates, for all the people that say associates don't belong at these marquee T20 or these marquee ICC events. Well, that's the answer right in front of you. What they did versus the West Indies tonight. Now, we've done the review, guys, but we're now going to do a rapid-fire review. So this is the review after the review, but in a rapid-fire sort of a way. Ian and Wasim, you guys have 20 seconds for your answers. Ian, I'll start with you. And the first question is for you. Did the West Indies allow the spinners to dictate terms, or was it just very disciplined bowling by PNG?
A bit of both. A bit of both. I think the PNG spinners bowled with good discipline. We undervalue that. But I also thought the West Indies need to be able to show more intent, not six hitting or boundary hitting, but to be able to break their wrist and rotate strike in between the boundaries.
Okay, 20 seconds. I didn't think that cutoff completely was like going to be 20 seconds, and the cutoff has come. Next question is for you now. Wasim, what was the most impressive aspect of PNG's bowling effort today?
Well, I think the discipline. Obviously, they don't have somebody who bowls at 140 clicks, but they bowled with a lot of discipline. Their spinners bowled stump to stump, didn't allow the West Indian batters to get away easily, and that's a lot of credit because they are known to hit big sixes. They're known to hit, like to hit boundaries, but they were very disciplined, and at the fielders in that ring also helped them, keeping that tight.
So we've crossed 20 seconds. I thought I'll just tell you that right now. Ian, this one's for you now.
Does he get marked down for crossing 20 seconds there? Does Wasim get punished for that?
No. So these are grace marks.
Yeah, there's no impact.
It's day one. It's day one. This one's for you now, Ian. And this is about Royston Chase. Wow, what a story. Uncertain to play. Now getting the West Indies out of choppy waters. Rate Royston Chase's knock in Guyana tonight.
I thought he was excellent, Royston Chase. He's a very steady bowler. He offers an option to the two left-arm spinners a point of difference, and his ability to soak up pressure doing a role that Shea Hope would have done, and then to be able to power hit two of his best assets today in that knock.
Okay, perfect. This one's for you now, Wasim. Did the West Indies field their best 11 today, particularly the bowling combination?
No, I don't think so. I think the bowling lacks that penetration, especially with the new ball. And I think going forward, they'll probably need to look out for a fast bowler. Obed Mukai could be that one, being a left-hander. Shamar Joseph could be that one. But they need one genuine fast bowler, I feel.
And that change would be for who? Who would you think?
I mean, it could be for Romario Shepherd. It could be for one of the spinners.
Okay. Ian, for you now, keeping in mind the way this result played out and also the way the conditions were and the bowlers used those conditions, a tight group with a certain Afghanistan and New Zealand to follow later, how nervy will this result make the West Indies?
It should wake them up if they need to be woken up, because Afghanistan and New Zealand in this group, it could come down. I was talking net run rate before it started. There was very little advantage to that at the end. So they need to wake up, and this to help them to spur them on.
Final question for you, Wasim. What should be the biggest learning for the West Indies from this opening game?
Well, I think I felt they gave away 15-20 runs more. I expected them to restrict PNG to close to 110, 115. So they'll probably look to do that, get their bowling disciplines, even though they wanted to try out bowlers, and obviously they didn't bowl the full quota to Akil Hussain, understandably, because they're playing PNG. But I think going forward, that dot ball percentage also has to improve while they're batting, because conditions are going to remain similar, but they can't allow the spinners to bowl that many dot balls.
So the rapid went out of your answer. The fire just kept on happening for 20 seconds also.
This was not rapid fire.
This was rapid fire only.
Was it rapid fire?
The clock retired. The clock retired. But nonetheless, this was a great rapid fire. Wasim, Ian, thank you so much, guys, for joining us on the show. A shaky start for the West Indies, a nervy start nonetheless, but they've got the win. And they've started their campaign in the 2024 T20 World Cup with all the maximum points that they could get from Guyana tonight. That's it from us, of course, but before we leave, let's tell you that you can download all the action on our ESPN Cricket Info mobile app, faster scores and more. You can download it on Google Play and on Apple Store. Once again, gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout.
Introducing the epic new Swift. Time to go swifting.